You're in a meeting. You've got something to say, but there never seems to be the opportunity to speak. The conversation just keeps moving. Or even worse, someone cuts you off mid-sentence. You don't know exactly what to say. You don't want to sound rude, like the other person. If this has ever happened to you, stay right here. I'm Andrea, and I help professionals just like you speak confidently and naturally in English at work. Today we're going to be fixing a big one. How to interrupt politely and how to handle being interrupted without getting flustered. You'll learn phrases that are natural and professional, and I'll even give you real life examples from clients of mine who've been able to manage this like experts. So first of all, let's look at why is it important that we can stop someone from interrupting us. So interruptions happen in every workplace, right? But when you are not a native speaker, and maybe you're in a meeting with other people who are all native speakers, and maybe on top of that, you are not a very extroverted person, these meetings can be incredibly intimidating. People don't always leave space to talk, and you might feel rude interrupting, even though you need to. So one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because recently I had a client who's working in London right now, but his first language is Spanish. And he told me that he needed to speak up in meetings, but he felt unable to. Everyone was always talking so quickly. Sometimes it was difficult for him to understand exactly what was going on, whether he was interrupting at the right time, etc. We worked on being able to use phrases to be able to interrupt correctly or to stop others interrupting him, which we're going to look at in this video, and also lots of listening techniques. Because if you're in a meeting where you don't understand what people are saying, that's obviously important. So for this client that I had, we worked on the two, but maybe you just need to work on the interruptions, which is what we're looking at today. So this video is going to be in 4 parts. The first part is how to politely interrupt someone. This might be because you need to jump in with information, because you want to clarify something. There's many different ways. Let's look at some phrases now. Sorry to jump in, but could I just add something here? If I may, I'd like to add a quick point. Before we move on, can I mention something? Sorry, I just want to clarify that. So let's think of an example. We are in a meeting where everyone is talking about a new client, okay? And everyone's talking, and then the person that's leading the meeting says, okay, next point. But you know that you want to say something because there's something that they haven't thought of. You could say, sorry to jump in, but I think there's a risk we haven't considered yet. So easy. You start off with, sorry to jump in, but, and then you explain what it is. And these phrases let you step in without sounding rude. You're being assertive, but polite. Now, it's incredibly important that you don't rush. So you know that you want to say, sorry to jump in, but just remember to be slow. So you say, sorry to jump in, but there's a risk that I think we haven't considered yet. And then wait a little time and then tell them what it is. Okay, the second part is what to do if you are interrupted. So you're talking and then someone talks over you and makes you be quiet. What do you do? These are some good phrases. Let me just finish what I was saying. Just to wrap up my point. Sorry, if I could just finish my sentence. I'd like to complete my thought, if that's okay. I'll come to your point in just a second. Let me quickly finish mine. Okay, so some of those were a lot of words, right? If it feels difficult to say that at first, that's fine. Keep practicing. But you can start off with the first one, which I think is the easiest. You can say, let me just finish what I was saying. You can also say, sorry, let me just finish what I was saying. Let me just finish what I was about to say. Let me just finish. Okay. So we're in a meeting and we are talking about a solution. And then someone interrupts us and tells us that that's not important, that what we should be thinking about is something, but you haven't finished what you're going to say. You could say, sorry, let me finish what I was saying. I think this solution might actually save us time in the long run. So just keep practicing. Keep holding your own. Keep being assertive, but polite. Now, it's a little bit more difficult. What do we do when we're handling group interruptions? So not just one person. Everyone is interrupting. Everyone is talking over each other. Obviously, you would be able to use these phrases if you were leading the meeting. Sometimes people just get excited. Sometimes time is short, so everyone feels they need to speak about what's important to them. But if you are leading a meeting, these are ways that you get people to stop talking over each other. Let's take one at a time. I'll answer you first and then come back to that. Great points. I'll address them one by one. Let's hold that thought. I'll come back to it shortly. These phrases show leadership, but that you're not being bossy. They are polite. So the fourth part is for when you already know how to do the first ones and you want something that sounds even more British, even more natural, even more confident. Are you ready? If I could come in there. Apologies for interjecting, but I think it's relevant here. May I just chime in for a moment? I don't mean to derail the discussion, but... So let's see how much you can remember. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you need to give me a phrase that would be best for this situation, okay? You want to add something before the meeting moves on. Which phrase would you use? Well, one correct option would be, before we move on, can I mention something? The second is, someone just cut you off. They spoke over you. What do you say? Let me just finish what I was saying. And the third, you want to politely steer the conversation to another way. What's best? Well, one option would be, let's hold that thought. I'll come back to it shortly. So let's do a quick recap. To interrupt politely, try... Sorry to jump in, but could I just add something? Before we move on, if you are interrupted, let me just finish my point. I'd like to complete my thought, if that's okay. Want to sound more advanced? If I could come in there, apologies for interjecting, but... Remember that confidence isn't about dominating the conversation. It's about staying calm, professional, and in control of your voice. If you'd like personal help with your work English, whether that's meetings, presentations, interviews, or even just everyday conversation, reach out for me for private coaching. I've helped many people in many different kinds of industries and fields finally find their voice and sound more natural and confident in English. Make sure you subscribe for more real-world lessons. And if you have an idea of something that you would like me to make a video on next, please leave it in the comment section. Have a wonderful day learning English today. Bye!